The reason we've come together, the reason we will be marching together this Saturday at 12 noon at Lafayette Park in front of the White House is that there is a growing body of sentiment in the country. We believe it is now the majority sentiment that opposes the expanding war in Afghanistan, the continued occupation of Afghanistan, the continued occupation of Iraq, the continued use of U.S. taxpayers' money to the tune of $1.2 billion every 2 days to finance occupation in Iraq and Afghanistan. This majority sentiment, however, will be ineffective unless it's mobilized into a potent political force, not just for the purpose of a demonstration on a particular day, but a new, broad, grassroots movement that influences the politics of society much the same way as the anti-war movement in the 1960s influenced the outcome of the conflict in Southeast Asia.
Words alone will not stop the suffering of the people of Iraq, will not stop the drone planes that are dropping bombs in Afghanistan as well as in Pakistan. Civilians dying on a daily basis. Words alone will not feed the starving people of Gaza, who have a barbaric embargo placed against them by two countries that we fund, Israel and Egypt. Words alone won't do that. Words alone won't end the 60 years of oppression and dispossession and occupation of the Palestinian people. And words alone will not satisfy the billions and trillions of dollars that we spend on war while people right here in Washington, D.C. have their lights turned off. People are losing their homes. There's no work.
We need to recreate a movement. And that's what we're trying to do here at this march. We're trying to not just build a camp, but build a movement. Build a movement that will sustain and last. Because these occupations eventually will end. But we know as these occupations wind down or will be winding down, they're planning other ones as we speak.
And I think before anybody votes a nickel more for these wars, they should spend a couple of weeks dressing the wounds of people that no longer have legs, and emptying the bedpans and turning them in their beds so they don't get bed sores, and taking people with half their head blown away up to get an EEG, and on and on and on, and do this for a few weeks, and then come and tell us that these wars are worth fighting for.
Right now, there are brigs full of soldiers at Fort Lewis, at Fort Hood, all over the country and all over the world. There are soldiers sitting in brigs for refusing to participate in these wars. Here in D.C., our National Guard doesn't have a vote in Congress, but yet they're sent off to wars. Our local National Guard does have rights, but they're continuously violated. And we're going to work to keep them at home. We're going to work to make sure that D.C. National Guardmen are refusing orders. We're going to make sure that that happens on a local level across the country, on a grassroots level from Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. Thank you.
Many Americans think the Iraq War is all but finished. Even if President Obama fulfills his promise to bring home combat troops in August, it will still leave tens of thousands of so-called non-combat troops in Iraq. And military families know that all troops are combat ready, combat capable, and therefore combat troops. And we want them all home, and we want them all home now.
The Arab community in America is an integral part of the anti-war movement, and proudly so. We would be participating not only to draw attention to the illegality of these wars, but also to amplify the discrepancy. Actually, it's more than just a discrepancy, it's a contradiction of U.S. policy in the Middle East versus the aspirations of our people.
We are not afraid to look into the future and take responsibility to stop the crimes of our government, but we are also determined to look backward this weekend. This war in Iraq was an illegitimate, aggressive, illegal war from the moment that George Bush launched shock and awe. It has killed more than 1 million people, displaced 4.5 million people, completely destroyed civil society in that country.
And we're going to be marching Saturday, March the 20th, because the immigrant rights struggle, as far as we're concerned, is directly related to the anti-war struggle. Were we not in those two wars, and were we not funding over 100 military bases around the world, all that money, which is our money, could be invested in rebuilding this great nation. Everybody would have a job.